All right, just please ignore the previous recording since we were experimenting some connection problems. And then please go ahead with your presentation now.
Okay, teacher. Let me check, where is it? Oh, I found it. My computer is so slow. One moment, teacher. It's loading the information. Can you see my screen or not? It's not yet.
Not yet.
What's going on? Okay. One moment, teacher.
Vivian, just trying to sort out your connection problems, and then at the moment Juan Pablo is gonna go ahead with his presentation, and after him we can have you, and next is gonna be Elmer.
One moment, teacher, because I don't know why it's not sharing my screen.
Okay, don't worry.
Yes, I'm having many problems with Skype. It's the only application with problems in my computer. Well, I have many tabs open in my computer, so I think that's the problem.
Don't worry.
Oh, after a stop, share the screen. One moment, teacher. It's good. The app is getting frozen. Not yet, because I have here that is already sharing the screen. Not.
What I can suggest is if you just want to close the camera and just share the screen.
Okay. But that's not a requirement for this task, or I can do it without the camera on.
It's okay, you can do it without.
Okay. Let's try one more time. Oh. Oh, can you see my screen now?
Not yet.
Not yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, let's try one more time. And now?
Yes, now. We can see it now.
Oh, I really apologize for all the inconvenience. My
No,
system
I
is...
think it's sometimes because there are some like troubleshooting issues when you have the camera and you are sharing the screen at the same time.
Yes, and I'm very used to those situations because I work in a call center and sometimes my computer gets so slow and frozen and with lag. Okay, so let's start. The topic that I will talk today will be the problem of drugs in Colombia. Because I have been working with this topic during this semester with other subjects, and I work with a community in Kennedy, about this topic. So I think that it's a topic that we need to pay more attention, taking into account all the disadvantage. And now that the government will it's it's going to converse about the situation about to legalize or not the drugs, yeah, like the cannabis or something. Well, all the drugs about it. Okay, so let's start with the introduction. I'm going to read the introduction, and after that, I will provide you an explanation about how the procedure to make my reflection about this topic own and the supports that I am going to use to support my opinion. So, well, the phenomenon of drug use in Colombia has become more complex in recent years. It's an issue that should be reflected upon due to the repercussions that have been seen in our society. This topic is very controversial because of the purpose for which drugs are used, especially when we talk about the new generations and the young people of today, as well as the consequences of the misuse of drugs. Although we must also take into account the people who require drugs such as cannabis for medicinal use. That means that I'm going to make a reflection about if the drugs should be or not legalized in Colombia, because we need to take into account the situation with the teenagers about the situation with drugs and the people who need um, to use the cannabis to well, for medicinal use, for medicinal purposes. Yes. So, well, I'm going to provide you some statistics about the drugs in Colombia to support my opinion. Well, I'm not agree with the legalization of the drugs in Colombia, taking into account uh, those statistics. For example, recent or post-year use of any illicit drug was equivalent to some 839,000 people only in Bogota, and we need to take into the recent use is much higher among men, that is the 5% than among women, excuse me, women, that is 1.4%. Another statistic is the highest consumption of illicit substances in the last year occurs occurs in the 13 and 17 age group with a rate of 8.7%, followed by adolescents with a rate of 4.8% and people aged between 18 and 24 years old with a prevalence of 4.3% for that period. In terms of socioeconomic strata, the highest recent consumption of illicit substances is found in stratum 1, 2, and 3, with almost 4% of those survived, with no statistically significant difference with respect to the other strata. Well, taking into account those statistics, we can just realize that the group that consume the drugs in Colombia, it's about the people that belongs to stratum 1, 2, and 3. Yes, in adolescents between 13 and 17 years old. What that means? That means that we have this situation because the teenagers don't have the support from his or her relatives, or don't have the opportunities to get a job or access to an education in Colombia. Yes, so for that reason, the people are consuming drugs over all the teenagers in Colombia. So, why Colombia should legalize the cannabis if that represents a problem for our country over all the teenagers? So, in my opinion, that should not be legalized because we can see that teenagers are consuming the drugs, and we can see that there are more disadvantage than advantage if we legalize the drugs. So, well, what is my opinion about this situation? My opinion is that, well, I already told you that we should not legalize the drugs in Colombia. And what is the best solution for this situation? The best solution is the education. Why is the education? Because as a future teachers, we need to take into account this situation in Colombia. We need to make a reflection with our students about the consequences of or about consuming drugs in Colombia, and about what are the consequences if we have this situation in one environment, about the bad influences, about how can this affect our lives. So I think that the best solution is the education. Yes, and that's the reason why I'm not agree with the legalization of the cannabis and the drugs in Colombia. Even if there are some people that need to consume drugs for medicinal purposes, so that's my opinion. So in conclusion, I'm gonna read the conclusion. So, in conclusion, the drugs should not be legalized because of the consequences that this action would have on the lives of the young people of this and the next generation. For that reason, I was talking about education, because we are talking about the next generation, how to make a reflection and how to how to make an awareness about this situation to the next generations, the consequences, the disadvantage, and all related to the drugs in Colombia. The education is the best option to solve this problem by raising awareness about the consequences of this problem and the different ways to solve this problem. And the last conclusion is, as future teachers, we must take into account this aspect to help the following generations to reflect and help to solve these problems so that human development can be possible in our reality. As I said before, I have been working with a community in Bogota about this situation. And well, I just realized that the best solution is the education to make a reflection about the consequences and disadvantage about the drugs in Colombia in our environment and well, in the teenager's life. And well, I think that's it. That's my opinion about the situation. I don't know what you think about it. So that's it. Thanks for watching this presentation. Oh, and we have here the reference that I used to support my opinion. That's it.
Thank you, Juan Pablo. Well, there are a few suggestions that I'd like to ask, and is for the other students as well. I ask you please that when you make a presentation, you should try to explain the topic with your own words. And if you can use less text, sometimes less is more. So just try to add as well some more images. Um, I think that or the topic that you presented is really interesting, and you share some of the plans and the things that you are working with the community. It would be nice, instead of just having them into text, maybe perhaps you share some pictures of it and then just talk about that.
Yes, to make it more interesting and to well, I use the images as a reference to well, to explain that I'm not agree with the drugs legalization. Yeah, for example, this 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 picture here or this picture here, no drugs. Yes, it's like a support.
Yes, I understand your point, but it just as a general and friendly suggestion, because
Hmm.
when we use images, we can capture the attention of the public, and we can talk about it in our own words, and we can talk about our own experiences as well to connect with the public, with the audience,
Hmm.
instead of just going ahead and reading. Um, it's just not what we want from a presentation. I like you to connect with the audience, and perhaps you could use some like different questions. You could ask your audience different questions related to the topic. You can add some more images, and maybe use less text if you want to have highlight some keywords instead of like writing a paragraph in a slide. That would be more interesting. Okay, so yes, just have that in mind. But yeah, overall, it was okay. I like the fact that you speak fluently. You have very few grammar mistakes, and your pronunciation is also good. But it's just like in general, when you're explaining a topic, I know that we tend to read because or sometimes we feel really nervous and we don't want to make any mistakes, so we just trying to stick to the text and trying to read. But we need to get rid of that, and we need to just, with the knowledge that we have, just share that knowledge with the audience, and perhaps use more images and less text. Okay, it's just my suggestion for you and for everybody.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Thank you. Thank you, Veroli. Was okay. Thank you, Juan Pablo.